Well, Trump is again exposed because he is filthy, he is nasty, and he really needs to be in somebody's prison because, quite frankly, he's nothing but a thug pedo. Okay, so let's get into it, y'all.
Protesters outside the White House with a banner confronting Donald Trump for his word. They're saying not a hoax because the evidence has rebutted, confronted, and really debunked some of Donald Trump's claims about these Epstein files, which he is in, including allegedly the card that now has been released by the Epstein estate. This card is all the way back from 2003. It is exactly what the Wall Street Journal said it was, which undercuts Trump's denials. And it went from the Epstein estate to the House Oversight Committee. And you can see the drawing and the poem or inscription, which we've read before, which suggests that the man who signed this card, Donald J. Trump, knew all about what Epstein was up to. The White House continues to deny that this card is from Trump, a denial that obviously is contradicted by the evidence from the Epstein estate. They have been holding on to this thing along with other documents. They handed it over under subpoena. No one has come through with any kind of rational explanation to explain what this is, if not what Donald Trump gave to the Epstein then household, now estate. And this morning, Trump just announced he doesn't see this as a live issue anymore. None of this type of denial is working.
If he didn't sign these, if you said he didn't sign the birthday card, he didn't do this, he also didn't do the check, those were in documents from the estate. So what is the working theory as to why he's in
the Epstein case? Would the White House support a professional handwriting expert review of the document released yesterday?
One of the other documents released by the House Oversight Committee contained a photo of Jeffrey Epstein holding an oversized check.
As the president, will he meet with the victims?
On and on it went like that. As we saw there, we're showing you the journalists with all these questions, not necessarily the answers, some of which were not newsworthy or don't pass sort of our standards review for the facts. Because Donald Trump has no good answer to this. He just sued the Wall Street Journal and he denies it. But of course, we have the hard evidence from the Epstein estate, and Republicans don't know what to say.
Look up this birthday card to see if it's legit or not. The president says it's not. I take the president's word.
Clearly, the birthday note from President Trump is a fallacy.
This was just a disgusting human being that I don't think anybody that ever wrote him a card letter for a 50th birthday.
I think it's just a foolish red herring that people are trying to look at for political divisiveness.
Do you think the Trump birthday note to Epstein is real?
I don't. They say it's not.
The question is not whether people think it's real, because people in politics can deny anything they don't want to deal with. The question is about the veracity of the evidence, something we've reported on for you, that it came from the Epstein estate under subpoena by independent executors under the color of law. You can get in a lot of trouble for tampering with that type of evidence. And there's no rationale. No one's put forward a motive for why someone, the lawyer or executor of this estate, would take those risks, nor any evidence of that happening. So the real question is, why did Donald Trump know so much about Jeffrey Epstein's scurrilous activities, whether they've been convicted or not at that point all the way in 2003? How many people, Donald Trump included, around Epstein knew about his activities or his outright pedophilia and sex trafficking and either looked the other way or didn't mind or made jokes about it at a minimum? That's before you get to the question of whether the Donald Trump administration in the first and second term has committed malfeasance or worse with regard to the case. And some Republicans have joined the Democrats on this push to get even more evidence. Here's one MAGA podcaster.
Yeah, it's not more people covering it.
He just has to do one thing. Stop calling it a hoax.
Agree.
Stop, trolling this topic because you're turning your own team against you.
That's your own team saying stop turning you against them, right? Now, there was also a photo of Epstein holding this kind of novelty check that they joked or suggested was some sort of payment. Of course, it's a novelty giant check. Looks more like hijinks than the actual changing hands of money. The Wall Street Journal reports that the man there is a Mar-a-Lago member, Joel Pasco. The note reads, Jeffrey showing early talents with money and women, sells fully depreciated, a name is redacted, to Trump for $22,500. Now, the image also released from the Epstein birthday book, you see this cartoon of Epstein giving balloons and other assortments to what are clear to be children. Those are girls, 1983. And then flash forward 20 years, and there they are as cartoon images, multiple people, semi-nude, massaging him, and you see the inscription, "What a great country." The point isn't to get into all the prurient back and forth. The point is that a large part of the denials from Donald Trump and other elites was that no one knew this was going on, and later when they found out, they made changes. That's been one of the cover stories. That is detonated by some of the details in the book. And as we've been careful to point out, someone's link or socializing with this now deceased sex trafficker does not automatically mean they were doing any convictable crimes. But it does detonate and explode many of the defenses that said people didn't know what was going on, just as Donald Trump's birthday card, which is strong evidence that undermines his case against the Journal, suggests that he was well aware that Epstein had all these sort of activities and all these references to things being young and staying secret. Meanwhile, Democrats are on offense.
They were boys.
They were boys.
Like no question about it.
If Republicans don't want to engage in a cover-up of pedophilia and this pedophilia ring, they should go sign this discharge petition.
The Epstein saga is perhaps the nastiest example of a trend that infects his entire presidency.
This idea that he wasn't close to him is crazy, but I do think that it's going to be so important for us to really dig in.
All of those are fair questions. There's also word that a bipartisan group of congressional investigators want to meet with Epstein's estate lawyers tomorrow. And remember, a lot of this got kicked up and escalated and elevated by people who claimed they wanted to get to the bottom of the Epstein scandal. Those people at one time included Donald Trump as a candidate, his Attorney General Pam Bondi, Mike Johnson, who you saw there saying he doesn't believe anything, he's not interested, the president now saying it's a dead issue. That is a tell. It doesn't mean they were all part of the crime circuit, but it does suggest that when they said they wanted to get to the bottom of this with evidence and the truth, they were lying. And now that there's opportunities to do so, that they are in power, that there are subpoenas that can be used and documents that the DOJ has under the control of Donald Trump, that they don't want that material out. So that raises the big questions. Why are they so scared for people to know that they knew what Epstein was like, some of what he was up to all the way back in 2003? Why don't they want people to know what Maxwell was involved with? Why are they giving her leniency here in the second term? These questions are not going away. They are only escalating. And it is one of the few issues where there is some bipartisanship with Democrats and some Republicans to push on. That apparently scares President Trump. We're joined by Maya Wiley, a former SDNY civil prosecutor, human rights expert. I say all that, Maya, because it's easy to lose the thread with so much going on. But the thread was people who claimed they were going to get to the bottom of this becoming part of the cover-up. Where does that stand today as you see some, not all, I'm careful to note, but some of these top Republicans, certainly the president, trying to shut this all down?
I think it shows that they are certainly making themselves appear to be people with something to hide and something to worry about. You said it really well, Ari, when you said the question is why, right? But when you're looking at what you just walked us all through, what so many Americans are now seeing in their news feeds, when you see the image of that card with little girls with balloons and then that naked image later of what we know victims have said happened to them. Victims who have come forward survived, because not all survived. As we know, Virginia Giuffre took her own life. That said, these are the kinds of things that happened to them. And then to have elected officials say, don't believe your lying eyes. We're just going to call it a hoax. I mean, we're just going to say it can't be believed. This is a pattern where the American public has said, wait, what? Why? And why aren't we shining a light on what happened here and something that was literally federal crimes of sex trafficking that includes minors, and where we have a history of powerful people not only engaged, but even in his first prosecution, helping to tamp down the serious nature of the alleged crimes so that we know in the future more crimes were committed from an administration that is telling us all right now is it's threatening to violate the rights of Americans and people and residents in American cities because of crime, that he will not actually suggest that there is any legitimacy to investigating what and being transparent about the very allegations that there were powerful people potentially engaged in crime, and crime that included children. It is simply outrageous, and one that I'm just shocked by one thing. How can anyone who supports the president just say, stop calling it a hoax? What about stop refusing to be transparent about sex crimes? What about that? It's criminal behavior we're talking about.
And stop giving leniency in the prison assignment to his co-conspirator. I want to play the top banker, Jamie Dimon, very important person. The bank was basically exposed for bending over backwards for Epstein in the Times account this week. He gave his first big response today. Take a listen.
We totally regret ever having done business with that man. But we always get better what we do. So when you talk about cyber or safeguards or anti-money laundering or bad guys in the system, we're always trying to improve that. And it'll never be perfect because the bad guys are quite smart too about how they go about it. But we're among the best in the world. Doesn't mean we don't make mistakes.
That's Dimon's response. It speaks to again the seriousness of this issue. People say, "Oh, is this conspiracy theories? Is this DC politics?" This is hitting a lot of different places that have tried to be secretive. And while Mr. Dimon says they have these programs, including AML, anti-money laundering, the Times account showed whether or not Dimon knew about it. They didn't find that in writing, but it showed that other people, top people at the bank, did know about it. The AML flags were waived. They just gave an exception to this horrific deceased sex trafficker.
You all know who actually had a lot to say about this Donald Trump situation, and it was none other than my girl, 𝐬𝐮𝐻 Crockett. Where is it? Let's get into that video because 𝐬𝐮𝐻 Crockett definitely had a lot to say here. So let me just share my screen if I can. But a lady of the hour.
Tonight sits on the House Oversight Committee, which is now at the center of this story. Democratic Congresswoman 𝐬𝐮𝐻 Crockett of Texas joins me now. And thank you, Congresswoman, for being here because Chairman Comer says that Democrats are cherry picking the information that they're releasing. They're politicizing what's being released tonight. As a Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, what is your response to the chairman?
No, listen, here's the deal. We have a president that is sitting in office that obviously had a very close relationship with arguably one of the worst pedophiles that we've ever seen in this country. And he's gone from, I don't really know him like that. No, we're not really that close. Yes, he was an FBI informant. To now, he said there never was this birthday book. There never was this letter. And I think it goes to his credibility or lack thereof when it comes down to this particular investigation. It also goes to when we hear the White House say things like, hey, this will be seen as a hostile act if you sign off on this. Listen, as American people, we should all be in unison, no matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, when it comes down to cracking down on something like this. And this literally is so big. I, as someone who practiced criminal law in Texas, in Arkansas, and in federal courts, I have never seen a case this big. And I did it for literally over 15 years.
In terms of what Democrats on your committee are putting out, the address book that came out tonight, it's got, I mean, I looked at it. It's names and phone numbers of people we know, their addresses. Was there a consideration about redacting that information, or was it intentional to just release it with everything?
So as it relates to the committee and what the committee itself has put out, we as committee members haven't sat down in a room and said, this is exactly what's going to happen when. Those are
So who made this decision?
Those decisions are made by our ranking member, along with the lawyers that are serving on our committee, because honestly, we don't sit and do that kind of stuff. The things that we're doing is we're trying to make sure that we are going after and we're subpoenaing the information that is going to lead to real answers, whether it's people or whether it's documents. So we are coming up with a plan around that. In addition to that, obviously, we are going to have staff that is going to go up and speak with those attorneys that released this most recent information to us, because there have been redactions. And so they're going to see everything unredacted to make sure that they're just not cherry picking how much information they're giving to us as well.
So do you have any issues with all the numbers and names and addresses being published?
I mean, I think that I personally probably would, simply because of the environment that we're in right now. And as someone who is consistently receiving death threats because of kind of political sycophants, I would.
You have no problem with it. On this drawing.
No, I'm saying I would have an issue.
You would have redacted it.
Yeah, I probably would.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I probably would have.
Yeah, just, I mean, it's like their
Unless
addresses
we're,
in New York, phone numbers.
but then again, it may be that none of this is actually relevant now. Like, as far as I'm concerned, these people could have moved. These telephone numbers may not work anymore, that kind of stuff. So I don't know if the team dug into that type of information just so that it could say, at this moment, this person lived here or there, but they may not even live there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's hundreds of names, as you know. On the drawing itself, the White House has denied that the drawing existed. They denied that it was Trump's signature. Tonight, they are denying it, saying that releasing it is proof that it's not his signature. I mean, we showed obviously examples that mirror it. What do you make of the White House's defense here?
The fact that the president is a liar. I mean, he's consistent. I mean, that's all I really got for you. I mean, you know, here's the thing. We got this from the Epstein estate. This isn't something that came from a random Democratic something. This came from the estate. And so,
because basically that would have mean that someone had to forge this.
Correct.
Years ago. It didn't come from Democrats.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. Like, it before he even got elected. Remember when Epstein died, right? That was before Donald Trump got elected this time. And they would have had to have some kind of foresight that he was going to run for office again, somehow win again. And we've got to make sure that this is sitting here so that when a committee comes through to get this, then it's crazy.
Do you agree that even if that is his signature, having his signature on the letter doesn't constitute any wrongdoing or illegal action?
No, I think the biggest issue is the fact that he cannot be honest about it, right? Like, why lie? Because it doesn't implicate, right? But the fact that you're lying makes it look like, what else are you lying about? Those are the questions that we have. If you'll lie about something this simple, then when you're trying to tell us that you had nothing to do with these women or these girls, why should we believe you?
Can we just show the signature on the page that was released today one more time? The White House is denying it is actually his. And when you look at this on this drawing from the White House, or from what was released today by your committee, if we have that picture of Trump's signature here, or what is allegedly his signature that they're denying, you see that and you believe that's his signature.
Yeah, who else sounds like that? I mean, it is a signature of signatures. I mean, that is his signature. End of story. Now, I don't think that it's worth time trying to get somebody to come in and, you know, who's an expert and goes through the curves and that kind of stuff. We have experts that can do that if he really wants to, but I don't think that it takes an expert to know that that is his signature.
Can I ask about something else that the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee published tonight? It's a tweet tonight, and it says, it has a picture, and it says, this picture, it alleges, it says, shows Epstein and a longtime Mar-a-Lago member joking about selling a fully depreciated woman to Donald Trump for $22,000 and $22,500. Can you explain what is being alleged here in this picture?
I mean, obviously, I didn't write it, but you know, from the looks of it, it does look like he engaged potentially. Now, I think that is more incriminating than the birthday. The birthday just makes him look like a creep. But this, it's joking about selling a woman. When and why is that ever funny? And why is it that they would say that he would be one that would be buying a woman? And to say fully depreciated, and it had some things that really made you feel like it was somebody that was young, because it was talking about the ability to learn, like a quick learner or something like that. I don't remember the exact language. But it's really disturbing. And honestly, it's really a sad day in this country that this is the guy that is leading our nation. I mean, we used to care about the morality of a leader, but when you're looking at this and you're looking at his actions overall, it doesn't seem like he has a moral compass or that he has an honest bone in his body.
And we don't know that Trump wrote that. Do you know if that information has been vetted, or is it in the process of being vetted? Whatever's
the most that I can tell you is that that came from the estate. That is something that we got from the estate. So usually when we're looking at documents, we're looking at the trail and like who had what. All I can tell you is that it came out of the estate. So this is something that is older. I'm sure that as our attorneys go up to see the unredacted versions of all the documents, there will be questions about who the people are that are in the photos and things like that. And ultimately, I think that they may be people that we ultimately end up questioning as a part of this larger
so
probe.
you may question people who are in these documents that are mentioned.
That's the whole point of getting them. Absolutely.
Do you have any ideas of who may be called, or is that something that the committee is still sorting through today?
We're still sorting through because we legitimately are still trying to sift through documentation.
You mentioned the FBI informant thing a moment ago. For people who aren't familiar, that's a comment that was made by the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, a couple days ago. He now was trying to clear that up today. I just want everyone to listen to what he had to say.
I mentioned that what the attorneys for the victims have been very clear about. I'm just repeating what is common knowledge and has been out in the public for a long time. President Trump was never a hindrance to the Epstein investigation. He was trying to assist in that. I don't know if I used the right word. I said FBI informant. I'm not sure. I wasn't there.
Is that common knowledge about President Trump trying to assist in the Epstein investigation? Have you seen any evidence of that?
That's the first time I heard of it. So I'm gonna say no. I don't have any documentation to that effect. And I was able to sit down during the Bill Barr deposition. I don't recall the former Attorney General stating anything to that effect. I can't say what all he said, but I don't remember anything that would lead me to believe that he was informed of anything like that. So no, I would not say that. And we know that Bill Barr was the Attorney General at least.
I mean, guys, let's just break this down. Trump has gotten busted red-handed. This man needs to be out of the White House. He's a criminal / pervert.